He was sincere and interested in what was happening in their lives, inquiring about little Susie's softball game or John's college graduation. Little wonder the plant's turnover was near zero, and they had a long list of people waiting to join as older workers began to retire. It was clear to us that whomever we recruited would have very large shoes to fill. Not only did they need to understand the machinery as well as Fred, but would also need to be as approachable and personable. We concluded the Milwaukee plant would show well. We could almost guarantee that all the potential candidates we contacted and brought forward in the search would be curious enough to do a drive-by and inspect the plant's exterior before saying yes to a meeting. They would only be encouraged to proceed. Michael said we should ask potential candidates if they had driven by the facility as a qualifier while doing phone screens. Great idea, I thought. It made sense that anyone who hadn't done at least that much before speaking with us after receiving the position profile and CCB could be running away from something rather than being drawn toward a more positive opportunity. It was a red flag to watch for. I was convinced Fred's opportunity would be strongly coveted. The job description Fred had given us was spot on. He'd put a lot of thought into it, and it was accurate. From that moment, we knew for sure the reason the search failed the first 2 times was the hands-off restrictions of the other 2 firms. Fred's a smart businessman. If he'd been made aware of this potentially limiting factor, I'm certain he would have contracted a boutique search firm and we never would have met. Lucky for us. During both our visits with Fred in Los Angeles and then Milwaukee, we were impressed. We were learning more about him, his company, and the position we'd been contacted about, and as we again picked apart the job description line by line, things just kept getting better. But we were just beginning our learning process. We needed to keep hammering away at that job description, because clearly defining the executive's role and responsibilities in relation to the entire executive team and detailing their contribution to the business is critical to the long-term success of the new hire. As an ESP, candidates will ask you umpteen details about the company and the role. And if you can't answer, you're dead. The importance of due diligence. Here's a quick story illustrating why a proper job description is crucial to your ultimate success, and why not doing so may lead to unrealized ambitions. Several years ago, a friend of mine, Brian, joined a 40-person, 5-year-old startup, AMESS, as a vice president of sales. Toward the end of his second month in this new position, he invited me to visit to the new company to discuss recruitment at the request of the CEO. Brian introduced me to the CEO with great fanfare and then excused himself. I turned my attention to the CEO to say something when he said, "I want you to find me a replacement for Brian. He's not working out." Apparently, after just 2 months, Brian was a huge disappointment. I sat down more than a little stunned and keeping a straight face as the CEO explained in great detail the pain and suffering they had experienced staffing the role. The CEO spoke for several hours, interspersing his monologue with quotes from Crossing the Chasm and Good to Great. It quickly became quite clear, at least to me, that his dissatisfaction with Brian was evidence of more systemic issues. I say this, first, because the CEO was having difficulty hiring in several areas of the company, and second, because Brian was the 5th VP of sales in just 2 years. I became intensely curious as to the process his firm used to hire talent, how they identified roles, and how to fill them. Fuzzy is the best way to describe it. Led by the CEO, he and the board described the role in one sentence as responsible for all sales and marketing.